It's time to open up your eyes. What we advise will make you wealthy and wise. You can watch it from.
Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Turn the music down.
We're going to start. We're going to kind of hit back and forth. I'm actually Sexy, Wealthy, in Heels, New York City and DC. My name is Erica Collins, and this is Alicia E Knox. She is Sexy and Wealthy in Heels, Philadelphia.
Hello everybody, thank you for coming out today. Like Erica said, I am Sexy and Wealthy in Hills, Philadelphia. She's Sexy and Wealthy in Hills in New York and DC. I also have my own company called Flawlessly You Fit. It's a fitness company. And as most of you know that know me, I love fitness and I love helping women and empowering women. So that's why we're here today. Sexy and Wealthy in Hills, just to give you a little information, it's a community geared towards helping females succeed on their paths of female entrepreneurship. Lynette and I have been talking a lot about her new business. We train and inspire women to not only build sustainable and profitable businesses, but to keep sexy in the process. We are creating a movement of fabulous women who are helping female entrepreneurs be confident and empowered. So that is why we're here today. And now I want to introduce Erica.
Hi, how are you? My name is Erica Collins. Cherry Hill is very special to me because it is where I grew up. Macy's is very special to me because it is where I started my plus size modeling career. I've been a professional model for plus size for about 24 years. And also as Miss Plus America. And became part of the international brand ambassador for Sexy, Wealthy, and Heels, both in New York City and in Washington, DC. And today we are about empowerment, women's empowerment, and we like to share some stories. So I'm going to share a story with you that actually happened here and probably platformed me into modeling. So when I was about 8 years old, my father and I were going to my grandmother's house. And we were going down Chapel Avenue, and he suddenly got a flat tire. Now I have to explain something to you. When I was 8, I was probably about somewhere between 5'5" and 5'6". So how tall are you? How many people have an 8-year-old in here?
9-year-old, but you taller than me.
Yeah, but by the time I was 9, I was about 5 foot. I was about the height that I am now. A lot smaller. About the height that I am now. I joke with people and say I also was very developed. I had a body like Beyonce at that time, which was a lot to manage at that age. So, back to the story. So, we were driving down the highway, my father got a flat tire. And unfortunately, fortunately, we found a mechanic shop that was right there. And we went into the mechanic shop to get the tire fixed. This was one of those 1970s Pontiacs that had the big, gigantic locks on it. So my dad said, stand by the sign and wait for your mom to come pick you up so we can continue our voyage to grandmother's house. So as I was standing there, a huge St. Bernard dog came running after me, foaming at the mouth. And the dog was so big that when it stood up, it was actually taller than me. And how tall did I say I was? 5. It was a pretty big dog.
Oh my God.
So, of course, I got scared and I started running towards the car that was actually in slight motion to go into the mechanic shop. And I jumped through the car window like Flojo. And unfortunately, my leg, 1970s lock, right, went straight through and then ripped as I was trying to jump through the actual car. So the odd part is I was so afraid of the dog, I had no idea I was even injured. So I'm screaming for my father, and he's trying to figure out what happened. He found out, he saw that there was some dog coming, so he jumped out of the car to go manhandle the dog, and he got bit. Finally, somebody came and the dog was taken in the back, and then he came to get me, and there was just blood gushing everywhere. So I still really don't know I'm hurt, by the way. So he picks me up and takes me to the mechanic shop. And when we went into the mechanic shop, we were just looking for bandages until he could take me someplace else. And they called him the N-word and told him to take her out of here. So I was still screaming. Not only did they do that, the dogs kept walking around and they wouldn't really put them around. So you have a hysterical, how tall was I? 8-year-old in your arms who's bleeding to death and nobody's helping you. Fortunately, I have a lot of family in South Jersey. So someone was driving by, I guess going to where my grandmother lived. And they saw it and came, and their mom happened to be a nurse and got all the proper equipment, etc. And obviously I went to the hospital, had to get shots and everything. So when summertime came, what do you want to wear?
Shorts.
Okay, so this scar ended up looking about this big, about this wide when you're like 8 years old. Huge. And in front of all the kids, you're one of the tallest kids in the class, and now you have this huge scar in the back of your leg. So how do you think that makes you feel?
Yes, self-esteem down.
So my mother, now this was the 80s. So what kind of music were we listening to in the 80s? Madonna, Prince, Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
So Madonna in particularly, lace was very popular, right? So when you went to the store, you could find multicolor lace stockings, right? So my mom saw I wasn't doing too well trying to get into shorts. So she said, well, let's go to the store and go get some fancy stockings. So I started wearing a bunch of fancy lace stockings. Now what do you think happened when I went to school? You think it would kind of help the situation, but then something about it empowered me because they were my fancy stockings, and it took away from the scar instead of that being a scar of life. Speeding up to college, I was in a program for college. They had some choreographers come down from New York. And the first time we tried out, they said, oh, we'll give you callbacks. They were tough the second time. So they called, and I was kind of shocked because I had gained a little bit more than a freshman 15. It was more like the freshman 45. So when I went for the next call, the gentleman said, we are going to thank you very much, and that means leave. And we mean thank you very much. They were very stern about it. So I started walking, and we walked for an hour. Keep walking, music kept going, walk. They're trying to choose models for this show. So finally, they said, stop the music. I want everybody to look at her. And now I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm actually thinking, figure and kick me out of here. Because all they said they were going to do was thank you very much. And the gentleman said, I want everybody to watch her because she is the only diva in here who knows how to walk. And I was also the largest person there. So that actually platformed me into plus size modeling. So the scar of my life actually made me unique, and I turned that into a positive. So with that said, you ready? I'd like to introduce to you Miss Sheena Ohlig.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sheena Ohlig. I am a personal trainer. I'm also a yoga instructor, and very proud to let everyone know that I'm an IFBB Pro Women's Physique competitor. I have been an athlete my entire life, and growing up in the area, I'm from Camden, born and raised, and if anyone is from the area, as I'm sure most of you are, you know the stigma that's attached to people who are born and raised in Camden, people who grow up in the inner city, and I used my skills as an athlete and my interest as an athlete, my drive as an athlete, to propel me beyond all the stigma, beyond the glass ceiling of what kids from Camden can achieve. And I earned a scholarship to attend the University of Memphis. I was a track and field athlete, hurdles, high jump. And the only thing that I can say is I never had any intention of athletics being a part of my adult career. I just thought that it would get me through high school, get me through college, keep me, on the right track, keep me away from the streets and all the other activities that you can get involved in as a young person in the inner city, but also as a young girl, because there are many things that girls face growing up in the inner city as well. So I don't want to say I kept my head in the books because I had my party time in high school, but I had great friends and I had great mentors, I had great teachers, and I had great coaches, and I was blessed, really blessed to have earned a scholarship through college. So I was able to earn my degree, 2 degrees, international business, a bachelor's in international business and in foreign languages, and blessed to get that scholarship to make it through college, to get my degree, and to experience life outside of the city, life outside of New Jersey. Because not very many people travel away from New Jersey growing up in the inner city. They think, oh, okay, even if they do finish high school, it's okay, well, maybe get a job or maybe go on to college. And if they do go on to college, it's a local school, or maybe it's in Philadelphia or New York or Maryland. And I went all the way down to Memphis, Tennessee, and that's quite a ride. I drove home one crazy year. I would never do it again. It was literally maybe 17, 18 hours straight. So I think I was driving for like 6 hours and I was still in Tennessee. And I was like, this is ridiculous. Like, one state cannot be this big. Because, in New Jersey, you can get from the top to the bottom of New Jersey in like 2 hours. Like, like nothing is more than maybe a half an hour away. All that to say, I had no intention of athletics being a part of my career as an adult. I said I was going to break through all of the stigma, and I was going to break through all the expectations or barriers that people had set, on people like me from the inner city. And I was going to get my degree, and I was going to work, and I was going to be a power businesswoman. I was going to have that power suit, I was going to have that briefcase, and I was going to come back with my cell phone, and I was going to show everybody that I was making all this money, and I was this, businesswoman. But I think what really turned the tables as an athlete in college was seeing how my knowledge of athletics and my knowledge of anatomy and physiology and how the body works was able to help other people. So I began training with the training staff and writing programs and learning about nutrition and learning about how certain exercises will promote you or help you do this on the track or help you do this on the basketball field. So I've always had an interest in the body and things like that. Once I got out of college, I was working in corporate America for maybe a year, and I learned very, very soon thereafter that it wasn't what I wanted to do. It was just very straight up and down. I didn't want to work. I was in a marketing firm in Memphis. Now, Memphis is like the international distribution hub of like the nation. So everything passes through Memphis, Tennessee. And I was working with an international marketing firm. This nice gentleman took me under his wing, was my mentor. He took me through all the trainings and all of the conferences, and he kind of really showed me what being in business was about, and I loved it. I was intrigued by it. My mind was like fed by it. I just ate it up, and I was pretty good at it. But what stood out the most to me was I was working for someone else. I was helping someone else's dream come to fruition. I was doing all of the footwork, all of the printing of the projects, and all of the research, and all of the emails, and all of the coffee runs, for someone else, getting someone else's job done. And I respected it, and I appreciated the experience. I decided very shortly thereafter that it wasn't what I wanted to do. I came home. I said, if I'm going to be in Memphis, like just running and getting people's coffees and printing projects and responding to emails, I can do that in New Jersey and probably go up to New York or probably be in Philadelphia, someplace a little more fun, a little bit more fast-paced, because it was just country to me in Tennessee. I came home, started working. I excelled anywhere that I went. I was in, accounting, I was in staffing. All of these things were just working for other people. And I realized that it just wasn't feeding me intellectually, and it wasn't feeding my soul. You hit the nail right on the head. The one thing that stayed constant was my involvement in athletics, in sports, in coaching, in giving back to the community, and working with nonprofits, in being athletic, just being active, nutrition, learning about different, nutritional plans and diets and foods that worked for you. And I would go to the gym every day after work. I'd be in the gym for 2 or 3 hours, probably first thing in the morning. And then when I get home, it was what I knew. It was everything that I had grown up doing, running and lifting weights. So I would go into the gym, and people would ask me for my help. And in the moment, I would just give them help. Okay, you need to put your feet like this for a squat. You need to do this for a pull-up. Or if you're trying to lose some belly fat, this is what you have to do. And I realized that I was spending time and energy and effort and giving of myself in a place that I felt at home, and I felt like it wasn't work, and I felt very fulfilled doing it. And I realized that that's really what my calling was. And people started offering to pay me for my help. Well, let me just come work out with you, and I'll pay you. You can train me. Never even considered it. I said that's pretty smart. So why don't I started taking on clients. I was still working, pretty much full time. My mom has a nonprofit organization, so I was working with her doing operations and just helping her set up business, set up your standard operating procedures, things like that. I decided to make the jump and make personal training really my full-time thing. It was just something that I just loved doing. I did that for about 2 years, like on and off, like part-time. When I made the jump and I made the leap and I stepped out on faith and it became full-time, I began training probably 10, 15 clients a week, which 10 or 15 hours a week isn't a lot of hours, but when you're giving of yourself and you're speaking to people and you're putting out a lot of effort, it does take up a lot of time. It does take up a lot of energy, but that's the beautiful thing about working for yourself. You don't have to grind it out for 40 hours a week. You can put in the 15, 20, 30 hours a week. Because the other stuff does come into it. The administrative stuff does come into it. You have to write plans, you have to respond to emails, you have to do marketing, you have to do all those other things. So that time does come into play. And I think that's something that continues to develop, especially with social media, especially with the advances that we have in technology and things like that. But once I decided to make it my full-time gig, I began growing, and people began recognizing me in the gyms, the different gyms that I was at, and people started reaching out to me. And all of the clients that I received were really through word of mouth, and even to this day, it's really through word of mouth. I hardly do a lot of marketing only because I keep a short roster of clients. I think that you have to have a certain level of discretion when you're working one-on-one with people. You have to really kind of filter out the people who are really serious versus the people who are just trying to take you for your time and your information. They want to get a couple of sessions.
I'm sure people want to date you too.
The guy coming in town, show me how to squat.
Yeah, to beat them
You gotta come a little bit tougher than
I can see that happening.
No, when I go into the gym and I'm training, I keep my hat down low, put my earplugs in, and I'm, for the best. But it's something that I really enjoy, and it's something that I enjoy teaching people. I teach my clients about education, not just showing you how to squat or making you do a couple of push-ups, because in the end, if we ever stop working together, I want you to know how to do these things on your own. And it's just something that I really enjoy doing. More so than that, I've come into this new world of working one-on-one with people and working with groups of people, and this life of yoga and wellness versus just fitness and exercise. And that's really my baby these days. So even though I have a special place in my heart for my training, my personal training, I've been using that more for my own personal advancement as a competitor. And I've been spending a lot more time with the yoga. So I'm a power yoga.
So do you do the meditation?
I do meditation. I do. So it's an ongoing progress. It's something that you really have to work at. Because of my natural inclination to just be all over the place. I'm
Yeah.
very energetic, and I always have been
Yeah.
since I was a kid. Sitting still, meditating, being quiet for so long. Like, I'll sit in meditation for like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and forget that I'm sitting there because I'm thinking, oh, I have to write that plan, or oh, I have to, contact this person, or oh, I wonder what shoes I'm gonna go, what new shoes are gonna come out, or oh, I never sent that email. Your mind starts racing. But it's a lot better these days since I found yoga. Since I found yoga, yeah. I was introduced to yoga. Well, I stepped into the world of yoga when I was going through a really deep, like dark depression. And that depression came because I didn't have vision at the time. I felt like I had done the things that I wanted to do. And this was probably about 4 years ago. And I still wasn't fulfilled. I still wasn't happy. I still wasn't. There was something that was still gnawing at me. There was something that was just like amiss. And I just gave yoga a try because I said I can't say that I don't like it if I've never tried it. So I tried it. I loved it. And power yoga is really the thing. So there are 100 types of yoga. There's gentle yoga. There's meditative yoga.
Heat yoga.
There's hot yoga. There's Bikram yoga. There's a million types of yoga. The yoga that I practice is similar to a Bikram, but it's very different in the sense of the movements are connected. It's vinyasa. It's more like a dance flow. So we call it meditation in motion. We connect the asanas from one breath to the next. So you're constantly flowing, and then you get a chance to like sit and pause and hold, and you feel all of the energy that's dispersed through your body from all of those moments and breaths of movement to now being still and being in one place and being rooted and being grounded. And I just love the balance that brings to people who are moving and going, shakers and doers. And then, now you have roots under your feet and you're still, So the studio that I train out of is Shine Power Yoga, and that's in Maple Shade. It's literally maybe 7 minutes from the Cherry Hill Mall. We have a couple of locations, but it's my baby because I've taken on a more personalized role with it. I work one-on-one with people who, need individual help, who may be a little intimidated to go into a studio or a classroom full of people and do yoga because they've never done it before. Right. So that one-on-one assistance and that one-on-one approach has just been a blessing for me because I may be speaking to someone who's coming to me for help, but we both get therapized in the process, because everybody has their insights, So I'll be speaking to a client and they're giving me information. They could be older, they could be younger. We could be, people of the same age or the same season, but I think we all go through life and we all have different experiences, and I can't negate your experiences. I can't say your experiences are easier than mine or harder than mine, or, we're from two different places and worlds, because we're all one, we're all part of the same universe, right? We're all stardust when it comes down to it. So we're part of each other, and that's the one thing that I really love about yoga is that it promotes unity, and it promotes togetherness, and it promotes acceptance, and it promotes patience, and it promotes self-love. Coming from the inner city, you have this hard outer shell that you can't show emotion, you can't show vulnerability, you can't show fear, you can't show I don't know, because you'll be taken advantage of, or you'll be stepped on, or you'll be beaten down, or you'll be forgotten about. It's the squeaky wheel that gets the oil kind of thing, right? So you have to speak up for what you want. And with yoga, I think it brings the more human nature to this existence that we're living in. And I've been using that a lot, even in my training, as a competitor, as a competitor and as someone who goes into the gym and has this gritted out and grinded out perspective. I go in and it's almost like the persona's changed. I can come back to my breath. I get under a heavy set and I'm shaking and I'm about to lose it, and maybe I shouldn't have lifted this heavy. My ego has to take a step back and I have to pause. I have to breathe through it. And I've probably beaten all of my best lifts in the 3 years that I've become a yoga instructor, because it just gets to something a little bit deeper. It's not necessarily just religion. I think we all have our own religions, our faith-based practices, but when it comes down to spirituality and connecting with another soul or another spirit, or understanding the energies that are in our bodies, it's just something that speaks to you on a more organic level. And you don't have to praise the same God, in order to practice yoga. You have to be willing to be next to someone and breathe the same air as someone,
love that.
you know, and be in the room with the same heat as someone, you know, and that's it. You
Yeah.
know, so that's something that has really been driving my career lately.